Hello everybody, I am Darren Starr and today I'm going to show you how to calculate a birth chart. Now calculating a birth chart is very easy, but I'm going to show you step by step on what to do. So I'm going to share my screen now. So you go to Google and you just type in Astro.com. And then you click on the very first one that shows up. And you're going to see a screen that looks like this. And then you go highlight your mouse over free horoscopes. And then you scroll your mouse all the way down to the far right and click on extended chart selections. Okay, so it's going to ask you if you want to create a horoscope immediately as a guest user or create a free registered user profile. So you can do that too. Doesn't matter which one you use. I already have an account, so that's why my email and password automatically shows up. But I'm going to click on guest user really fast. And you just, of course, click yes. And then you just type in your name. So I'm just going to say, make up a person, make up a birthday. Let's say the person is born 1991. Of course, you pick the time. Then we're going to give this fake person fake birth information. Click on the city that you were born in. So this is obviously the country, or you can say state. It gives you the option to pick what state or country. And then, of course, the city, birth town, however you want to say. And then you press continue. And then you click on extended chart selection again, right here. And then it's going to have a name. So obviously I just put a fake name here. And then you have tons of options on how you want to have your chart to look like. So the way I have my settings set up is the first thing you want to check is the house system. And there's many different options on house systems, and I always use whole signs. So I click on whole signs, and I don't mess with anything around over here. And sometimes this little section won't show up, so it'll have this minus button or plus button. Same thing with this, but you don't touch anything over here. And then you also want to click on true node and descending node. And you don't have to do this, but sometimes I like to click on that under the aspects and click on the aspects to the lunar nodes. And then you get to choose if you want, Chiron off or if you want it on. And some people don't use the outer planets, so sometimes people will check this, if you prefer to have that or not. And then there's additional objects. So some people like to use the Vertex or Lilith, Chiron again, or Ceres, and all these other asteroids. But I'm just going to leave it blank for now just to make it simple. And then you click on, you could either click here or you could click down here. And then this is what a birth chart should look like using whole sign houses. So then if you're new to this, I'm sure this is going to look like confusing geometry type of stuff, but it's actually a lot easier than it looks. So basically these are the houses, these numbers here. Obviously there's 12 houses, and then the signs are on the outer side. So if you don't remember the symbols of the signs, I suggest you try to memorize it. And then these symbols here are the symbols of the planets. So that can be hard to memorize if you're very new, but I did have a picture for you guys. So if you're watching this video and you're trying to memorize the symbols, just pause the video and try to memorize each symbol for the sign. So you have this symbol for the sun. Everybody knows the sun and the moon symbols. Most people know about the moon. And then you have the symbols for the other planets, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and so on and so on. And then down here, you have the nodes. So you have the north node, which is this upward looking thing. They kind of look like headphones. And then you have the south node, so it's like a downward type of symbol. So if this is your first time studying astrology, you may want to pause this and then try to memorize it. That way, when you look at a chart, you'll be able to know that this symbol here is Saturn. So you can say, okay, I have Saturn in Aquarius in the 11th house. And then you could say, okay, I have Moon in Aries in the first house, or I have Venus in Gemini in the third house. So that way you can be able to describe your charts to other people who are advanced in astrology, or if you're trying to learn it, you can ask questions. That way you won't be confused on what these symbols are. And these blue and red lines here, these lines are called aspects. Aspects are pretty much the relationship between one planet and another. So these red lines here, you would call that a square aspect. And then the red lines are usually square aspects or oppositions. So like, for example, this fake person has Jupiter in Leo, and it's making an opposition aspect to Saturn in Aquarius, because Aquarius and Leo are opposing zodiac signs. And then the blue lines are called harmonious aspects. The red lines are challenging aspects. The blue ones are harmonious ones, which means the planets are working very well together. So like, for example, Saturn is in Aquarius making a trine aspect to Venus. So that means it's an easy flowing energy. So I'll get into interpretations later, but just know that this would be a good relationship between Saturn and Venus. Venus is in the air sign Gemini, Saturn is in the air sign Aquarius. And same thing with Venus is making another harmonious aspect to Jupiter, and that's called a sextile aspect. So sextile aspects are good too. There are different elements, fire and air, but they still work together very well. So they complement each other. And then when planets are together, like Sun and Mercury and the Moon, that's called a conjunction. A conjunction when the planets are really close together. And these numbers are called degrees. So that's important too. So like, even though the Sun and the Moon, they're in the same zodiac sign, the degrees are very far apart. So like the Moon here is at 6 degrees, the Sun is at 23 degrees. So that is what you would call a wide conjunction, meaning that the planets are not influencing each other that much. The closer degrees, the more intense the conjunction is. Like Sun and Mercury, they're very, very close to each other. They're only 2 degrees apart. So you would call that a tight conjunction. Now, as far as house systems goes, I'm going to show you what the popular one is. Most people always go for Placidus because it's the default system. I don't know why they have default and Placidus in 2 different sections, because they're exactly the same thing. But I'm just going to show you what it looks like, show you the difference. See, it's wildly different. It's totally different. Saturn is not even in the 11th house anymore. It's in the 10th house, but it's still in Aquarius. And the houses are a little bit more distorted depending on where you live, what part of the country you live in. So this is what most people use. Me personally, I used to use Placidus, but I prefer the whole sign house system because of the techniques that I use. I use a lot of Hellenistic techniques. I study Vedic astrology, and those techniques only seem to work with whole sign houses. So me personally, that's pretty much what I stick with. But you can use whatever system you want. I suggest playing around with it, because you have a lot of different options. But the most popular ones is Placidus because it's default, so most people don't even know to even check it. But I suggest playing around with it you know, to see which one is more resonant with you. And another popular one is Campanus. I think the difference between Campanus and Placidus is divided by time, and Campanus is divided up in space. It's very complicated, so I'm not going to get into that now. And there is a whole historical reason as to why Placidus became default. But again, I may save that conversation for another video. But the whole sign was actually the very, very first house system there ever was, and then all these other house systems got developed later, and whole signs got rediscovered, I think, around the 80s, but don't quote me on that because I don't know exactly. So there's many different reasons why I choose this one, but every once in a while I'll dabble into Campanus or Placidus just to, you know, just in case I think I'm missing something, but for the most part I just stick with this one. And whole signs are always makes a sign. Basically, it's a sign-based system. So whatever your rising sign is, which is the ascendant, which is the letters AC. So this person has his rising at 25 degrees Aries. So whatever that ascendant is, that becomes the first house. So it's Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, and so on. So yeah, and then I always click on the nodes, because when you leave it on default settings, the nodes, the descending node doesn't show, which is annoying for me because I always look at the nodes. And when it comes to the nodes, like this person has the north node in Capricorn, the south node is always going to be in the opposite sign, which is Cancer. So some people just have it in their heads and they memorize it automatically. And I do too, but it's just an OCD thing for me. Like I have to see the south node. So that's just me. That's why I like to have my own settings here. I never leave it on default. I always mess around and do other things. Or if I want to check extra stuff, I'll play around with the asteroids. And then there's other more complex things, like some of the asteroids are not listed. So there's other websites where they'll give a coding and you type in this code in this manual entry box, and I don't have any memorized in my head, but you can type in a code. It'll be a set of numbers, so you type in this number here, and then you click here to show the chart, and yeah, that's pretty much it. So anyways, this is the end of my quick tutorial on how to calculate a birth chart. So if you have any questions, let me know. And maybe I'll make another video. All right. Thank you. Bye.